Welcome, everyone, to the Learning Hoop Podcast, your best source for educational insights and trends. I'm Chris, your host. Today's special guests are Jennifer and Tarah. They are both kindergarten teachers in Texas and longtime Seesaw users. We are so excited to be joining them in a special joint session here today. Welcome to the show.
All right, thank you.
We're so excited to be just having this double trouble team as we go into our thing.
That's Twin and I. We're like this. So yeah.
Amazing.
For
For sure. So exciting. We're going to start with just a basic question. When did you first hear about Seesaw?
it.
I think it was like the same time, Tara, because we took a staff development in the computer lab, and we had a computer lab. And yeah, then we were like, let's be ambassadors. Let's do all the things, because we were so excited about it. What was that though, Tara? Do you know what year?
I feel like it was my 2010.
Yeah.
Possibly, I believe. And we just kind of dove right in. We were like, this looks awesome. And the second we started doing the trainings, we were borderline obsessed with just how amazing it could seamlessly go into the classroom and just seeing the kids' engagement is really what we're like, whoa, this is something that's going to really change our classrooms and education. And it really has over the years, and it keeps evolving. So that's what is, long-time users. That is
Amazing. So being a longtime user, you've seen it, like you said, you've seen it grow, you've seen it change. What are some benefits that you've experienced with having Seesaw as a part of your classroom?
I look at it as kind of almost like a modern day show tell every day, because I'm a mom, and so a lot of times, like, what'd you do today? I don't know. And so now some feedback too, just as a parent and a teacher, is some parents are saying, yeah, we love it because we can quickly, when our kids they do give us that answer of, I don't know, we can just quickly log in. And as a family, they can look at everything they're learning. It also instills the child into being very proud in their work. And so that's really changed just the way that parents have a view into our classrooms now. And so it's something really special to see. I love getting the notifications. Olivia's journal was updated. And so I think that's been a big change, because that wasn't always the case. We couldn't do that before.
Yeah, I think that parents appreciate it much more than, little papers or worksheets that come home. This is just so very hands-on and so authentically their child. And so, it's exciting in that way. It's not just something, thanks, that's great. You made that today. It's awesome. And they can share it with other family too, So, we love it.
And I think too, it's almost like our students, how Seesaw has evolved, especially kindergarten. They come in and you never know what you're going to get. And you just kind of start with the basics. And that was kind of Seesaw. It was the basic. You could draw a picture, you could label things. And it's really evolved over time. And it's really evolved the way we teach, because now, especially when Jen and I are creating something, we can be like, we could quickly turn this into an assessment, or, hey, this could work for our intervention group, and we can assign it to just those students and target those students. Where before, it took a lot more work to really, plan and create things outside of Seesaw. And now it's just a very quick, and it's a very collaborative feeling as well. Jen and I are constantly like, hey, what do you think about this? Or, oh my gosh, I love that idea you had. And we kind of bounce off. So many wonderful things.
I feel like it's just seamless throughout the day. I mean, there's just always a Seesaw for everything, there really is. And so many different ways to use it too, we just love creating Seesaws in general, but now that, the assessment part of it, amazing. That's been a game changer for just creating things. And, like we said, the tools have changed, and now I look back at my older Seesaws, I'm like, I need to lock those objects, or I need to, but there's
thing. Yeah.
So good. You were speaking a little bit about, family connections and how important that is, but I want to really go into and dive into how this has really impacted you as a teacher. You spoke about a little bit and how it's, you've helped to improve your ability to create things. How else has Seesaw really embedded its way into your classroom and really changed you as an educator?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I feel like there's always just like that connection to family, just right there all day long, everything we do. So in in sharing pictures and students sharing videos. Those are things we never could do before, ever, and now that everybody has an iPad, it's it's a game changer because, before we had five, or we check out a cart, for an hour or two. But now it's just, oh, can I take a picture of it on Seesaw and send it to my kid? Yes, you can. Um, it's so cool because before you can't do that. Tell your parents about what we learned today, but this is like show and tell, and a product here that you can see. So yeah, it's awesome.
And I think too, as a teacher, it's kind of like a marriage of things I love. I love education. I love technology. And it's just this perfect, beautiful platform that is, I love how easy it is to teach students how to learn, how to just use it. And then once they know that, it's just limitless as what they can do. And sometimes even, and will inspire me like, ooh, what if we did this with Seesaw? They'll come up with an idea. And I know the assessment piece Jen and I have been using a lot, and just that immediate feedback is something that before, we would call them one-on-one, and just the time that it's really saved us, that we can just quickly assign it, that we kind of do a quick preview of it, and then we have results instantly. And that's something that I think we really appreciate, especially in kinder. A lot of things are one-on-one. And so it's really saved time to have that feature now. So it's changed a lot of how we lesson plan, how we think about just our lesson in general, the pacing of things too. I know too, we always have those fast finishers in class that are like, I'm done, what do I do? And they're like, before it'd have to be like this whole wall of, well, you can do this and this and this. And I still have those things, but now I can quickly be like, you know what? I have the skill, you can work on this. And it's not, and I can really differentiate in a very easy way for each student. And it's not always necessarily an academic thing. There's some where it can be an art activity, like, here, go watch this and do an art and then post a picture of it. And it also, I love the aspect where it's still technology, but you can definitely still incorporate the hands-on piece. I know we've used things before where they take a photo, or like Jen was saying, a video of something that they did that was hands-on. So it's not just technology. So I think that's something that's, especially for kinder, they still need, that hands-on piece. And so it's been, just like I said, a perfect marriage of the things I love. So
amazing to hear the impact it's having on you as an educator, and also being spread across other teachers as well, not just yourselves. You spoke a little bit about being able to cater learning and personalize that for each student. Can either of you or take turns just sharing an example of a time when, you use Seesaw to really help move a student forward in a meaningful way? And if you didn't have Seesaw, that wouldn't have happened.
I think right now, across our grade level, we have some testing coming up, and the MAP test, it's not just a kinder level test, it's kinder through 12, it can go really high and be very challenging. So we've used Seesaw to teach our small groups different skills that they're not kinder curriculum, but they'll be on the test, or they might be, you need to learn, time, which we don't do in kinder, but we're able to do it now with the kids who are ready for it. And so that's been great. So I feel really good about our testing coming up because we've shown them different skills that otherwise, we just can't fit everything into one day. So, when it's they're learning, throughout the day, little pieces here and there, extras that they can do, it really makes a difference, and they grow more too. They're excited to learn things that it's a kinder skill. This is first grade, this is second grade. So yeah.
And I was going to say, like the excitement piece of when we were doing those quick little lessons with them. Hey, we're going to show you something that, you were so smart, you were ready for. And then the second they would hear us on Seesaw, they're like, it's on Seesaw. And so they would instantly, just that engagement piece. You don't even have to try. You just say Seesaw and their little faces light up and they're ready to go. And so I think that's a lot of fun to see, where they're still learning and having fun, and they never get tired of it. I know some applications we use are like, can I do this? And I've never heard that ever with Seesaw. So, and I think for me, I do have a lot of ESL students this year. And so just having the tools that if it's a vocabulary thing that they're lacking, I can record myself and pre-teach those things or reinforce skills that they need. And so it saves time too. As a teacher, we can really say, and like we had said, we can really focus in on those things. that we didn't. It just gives us more time in our day. So that's something I really don't know of anything else that could do that. We're one person, and Seesaw is kind of like a little backup that really helps us be able to reach all the kids.
Yeah.
So that's been a big difference too.
Absolutely. I'll say too, like your we'll say your intuitiveness around being able to just deliver exactly what students need. I'm sure that plays a factor too, in them being motivated and engaged and having amazing things that you guys are building, putting that in front of those students. So that's also a pat on your backs as you go through this too, is it's not just all Seesaw that's coming here. It's also your ability to understand your students, how to create this platform, and then how to deliver that with excellence. Um, I know you spoke a little bit about the formative assessment tool. I'm curious if that is your favorite tool inside of Seesaw, or if there's other things that you have found some power in really adding value to your daily classroom use.
I feel like the assessment piece has been huge. I mean, I just think about if I had that during virtual learning,
Oh my gosh.
there's so many seesaws to check, you know? And sometimes it was like, you know what, that looks great, approve.
Yeah.
You know, I have data behind it. I can see how many tries they took, you know, to get it correct. And, you know, and I can still have it and it's still approved and kind of set it aside. That's really been awesome for me. So yeah, I love the assessment tool. I do that whenever I can. And they love it too, because they know I can check myself before, you know, so they want to get it right. So they're happy to check it and see like, I got it, you know, I got it right. So
And when we are building, it's almost like a game for the kids. And so we try to really gamify in a way that's fun for them. And they don't really know, hey, this is really an assessment. I really want to know what you know. And to them, it just feels like a game. And so I think that we're always looking for ways to make it fun and engage. And so that piece has, like you said, Jennifer, it's them being able to self-check, but really we can see how they did. It builds their confidence as well. They're not just, you know, on a piece of paper, they might just be like, I don't know. Or if they see that they made a mistake, then it could lead to other things where they don't feel so great about it. And where now they get those chances to try again. And so just the confidence boosting as well. But yeah, the assessment piece has really lately been something we have been a little obsessed with. We're constantly like, okay, what kind of assessment? The drag and drop, I will say, is definitely my favorite. It's just fun. It's a fun little feature, and the kids love checking that little box. And so it is. It's and the videos, those always crack me up. I mean, you never know what you're gonna get, and it's pretty funny listening to those.
yeah, I get at least a few times a day. Can I record? Is this a recording one? Can I record my voice? I'm like, sure, you know, you can anytime you want to, even if it doesn't say to, you can record, you know, talk about your learning. And even now the kids will request, like, can you make a seesaw with it? You know, it's so funny. Can you or Ariza make a seesaw where practice, you know, whatever the skill is? And like, yes, we can do that. I mean, they know that it's a way to show what they've learned, you know, and they know their parents and their families are going to see it. So, yeah, they're excited about it.
Have you had any moments in your use of Seesaw, whether it was at the very beginning of your using or even now, have you had any times when family members have shared anything about how this has helped them to be a part of the learning outside of your classroom?
I think one of the things that we fairly quickly started doing, we always had data binders or learning journals that parents would only look at around parent conference time. And we were like, you know what, this would be the perfect way to consistently update parents, not just at parent conferences. And we would post, because again, in kinder, we do a lot of one-on-one and a lot of our skills, we would post those. And so that was something I feel like all of us heard really good feedback as far as we love that we can instantly see what they're doing great on and, hey, what they need a little help with. And so just having that online learning journal of their assessments or just skills that they're working on, parents have appreciated, because I know it's hard sometimes to find the time as a teacher to constantly be contacting parents about they're doing great at this and this and that. And so it's really, like I said, a time saver, and parents can visually, and if it's something they're recording, they can be like, oh yeah, I kind of heard them, but they were trying to read their sight words or when they were counting, and I will definitely work on that. So that piece has been very impactful. Like I said, it's just a little background teacher for us, like a teacher's aide that's helping us out along the way. So
And And it's kind of like, instead of, assessing and then showing, it's all happening at once, and specifically not what letters should we work on, what sight words do they need right here, so that's a time saver too. So, yeah, it's helping kids in their learning.
Yeah, and they're very proud of it, and they get excited. Like, are you showing that to my mom? And then once I know when we first started using Seesaw, it was very much us posting, and again too, that had to do with the technology we had access to as far as devices. But slowly, we're like, you know what? No, the kids can easily do this. And then they took even more pride and like, hey, I posted that. Is that my mommy going to see it, or my dad? And when parents would comment back, the kids just love that piece. Like, yeah, mom sent me a message. That piece, I love that Seesaw's integrated, because even though they are little, they still love hearing, that little encouragement from families. So.
And they also love to go back and watch their own videos.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Scrolling through their feed and looking at all their things. It's pretty adorable, listening to their videos. And that's still, they're learning and they're proud of it. So I love that. Even though I'm like, hey, come to carpet, time's up. And like, it's scrolling.
And I think the last thing too is just the one of the features that I was a little bit not fearful of. It had the labeling with the keyboard. But really, this year alone, we've tried to create things that they're having to type more. That's a skill that, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of students aren't getting. It's just basic computer skills. Yes, they're exposed to these devices so early on, but that feature, like I remember some at the beginning of the year, just let's see if you can type your name, and even just talking about the different letters on the keyboard. And so that's been just a skill that they've learned through Seesaw, and not necessarily, okay, let's log into the keyboarding class and let's get stressed out, because that thing used to stress me out when I was a kid, taking that, like, okay, put your hand through it and take 30 minutes, where this is just more like learn the keyboard first. So that, I think, is just a basic skill that I appreciate.
For sure. And it lends itself to the age that you're teaching, right? Like, they're learning about letters, they're learning about numbers, they're being exposed to all this.
Right.
Let's learn where they are in our world and how to really find them and use them in ways that help us to, share what we are understanding and where we want to go. So I think that's a natural connection that you've kind of discovered there, which is so awesome.
Yeah.
We have two more quick questions here. I'm going to jump into the loopy question, and this is just a silly question we ask all of our guests here who are joining. If you had to have one dessert, and only one dessert for the rest of your whole life that you had after whatever meal you chose, what would that dessert be?
Cake. Always cake. I will always choose cake.
You love cake. That's really hard. I know you are. I love cake too. I'd say my mom's cinnamon rolls. She's a baker, and she calls them bodacious buns because they are as huge as your face. I don't think I could eat one every day, but it's probably my favorite dessert ever. And yeah, I love cinnamon rolls.
And she always tells me about these cinnamon rolls. I think I have one. And I'm like, nah, you could have brought one to me or we can eat a ball. I'm like, come on. Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
It's too good to share.
Yeah, they really are. But yeah, I promise Jen, the girls and I will make you some too.
So funny. That's so good. I think I would be in the same camp as you, as like, some kind of a baked good. I would probably lean to like brownies maybe, but
yes,
there's really no wrong choice.
Right.
There's not.
Awesome. Well, as we go into our final question here, we always ask anybody who's listening, maybe they're a new teacher, maybe there's somebody who's like new to Seesaw, or they just want to level up their skills. You both shared so much expertise on how you're using Seesaw in a really deep way. What would you tell these new teachers or new educators? Where would you have them start to get to a point where you are today?
I would say start by exploring all the activities that are already created. You don't have to create them. You find and, assign what you need. And I think from there, that's what we did at first. We didn't create right away. We were looking at everybody's activities. And then from there, we're like, well, we could do this. And then we could add, so then it just went off from there. But I would say just utilize the activities that are already made. That's the best way to start out, I think.
And I think too, don't be afraid, even if you do teach kinder, even preschool. We have preschool on our campus. Don't be afraid that There are a lot of features on there, but it's very kid friendly, and just let them explore. I think just let your kids explore what they can do with it and take it slow. There's so many options and things that they can do on Seesaw, and even as a teacher, that just take it slow. I know it can be, at first we wanted to do all the things, but we're like, no, we need to really master certain things before we can just throw all the things out there at the kids. So just take it slow, and just observe or find someone on your campus. I know Jen and I love sharing what we do on Seesaw, but we also love anytime someone has a question. So just finding someone almost like a mentor, Seesaw person on your campus to, and I will say I'm so grateful having Jen, that we both love it equally the same. We're crazy about it, but it's so fun to have someone that is just as excited to share. So just finding that person that is willing to help. And yeah, like Jen said, just explore. There's so many options out there now in Seesaw as far as activities and things that kids can do. So, but take it slow. And they'll get it. It's amazing, because even this year, just teaching them the basics of remembering back to Seesaw boot camp that we did with our kindergartners, to, to how long it took for them to find the drawing tool or how to move something, to now they could just do it with their eyes closed. And being consistent, I think that's another important thing. Just make sure, if it is something you want to use, you do need to be consistent, trying to integrate it as much as you can, because then it just is the seamless part of your day that's not stressful at all. And it takes a minute to get to that, but again, it's amazing what the kids can do and how quickly they learn.
I would also say, get your parents on board,
Yes.
get everybody connected, and you're good to go, because the parents are going to be excited right away to see. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just like, wow, this is so great. Thank you for sharing this, and it's like, well, your kids are doing it too. Yeah. That's what we're doing too. And I feel like, I don't know, in the past few years, I have every family connected, multiple people, and it wasn't always like that. I'd have to work really hard to get everybody connected. Now, it's like quick. Everybody's ready to join, so yeah, families love it.
Yep.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for providing such powerful insight on that final question there, and practical steps to kind of get going with Seesaw. We so appreciate all of your expertise here today, going through everything from how to really be a powerful instructional designer to really the best things about Seesaw, and then following up with really some powerful next steps for anybody listening. We so appreciate you taking the time to be here, both Jen and Tarah. You are super rock stars, and we appreciate you just being here on our podcast here, sharing your expertise. Thank you so much.